Hey Liz, your video response came at a really good time actually, because I just had a really long and honest and heartfelt talk with my mom today, and not about weight issues. I haven't opened up to her about that. Well, I sort of have, but not 100%. She doesn't really know how bad things are. But oh goodness. Uh Yeah, try not to pass on eating disorders to your child. That's a hard one. Um, and I think the number one thing you have to promise to yourself you won't do is not to blame yourself if your daughter does end up having an eating disorder. Because, you can do things that are completely innocent, and like what my mom did was she just said, "I'm so glad you're happy with yourself no matter what you look like." And I was like, well, is there a reason for me not to be happy? And so there's not a lot you can do. Also, um, another thing that kind of scares the shiza out of me, when I think about gaining weight is, and it has something to do with my mom, but it's nothing she could have avoided, really. I don't know how she could avoid this, but I saw how my father treated her for being fat. She's lost a lot of weight since then, but I look back at pictures and I can't believe how unhappy she looked. That's all I can say is just she looked very unhappy with herself, and therefore used food to comfort herself. But my dad was pretty awful to her for gaining weight after college and after having a kid. And my grandpa, her father, was pretty mean to her too. Um, he was kind of mean in general, but he did say a few things to my mom that just killed her. And so yeah, that inspired me not to, or that inspired me to do my best not to be fat too. Just like you said, watching your mother and your grandmother or aunt or something, um, and all their health problems. Like, there's stuff you can't help, that causes, that just adds on to reasons to have an eating disorder. Um, but some things that are really important, um, you can't ever let your daughter see you look at yourself like that. I don't care if you have to take all of the mirrors out of your house. You can be a mirror-free household, but if she ever saw something like that, even even if, I mean, it's great that you're trying not to say things about your weight in front of her, or about how you look and how you feel about looking the way you do and things like that. Even if you don't say things, I think it's almost worse. I would be very traumatized if I had to see my mom walking out the door and look at herself in the mirror in disgust. It would, a young mind would be like, why doesn't she like herself? She's beautiful. Your daughter knows how beautiful you are, and she loves you, and she cannot understand, and will not be able to understand for years and years and years, um, why you're not happy with yourself. And so she'll try to understand, and the only thing she'll be able to conclude from that is that you're beautiful and you're not happy with yourself. So even if she thinks she's beautiful, maybe she shouldn't be happy with herself. Um, so yeah, just take the mirrors out of your house if you have to, because that's, you know, you can't blame yourself for if your daughter does have eating issues when she grows up, and she won't blame you either, because I certainly don't blame my mom, even though I know she has a lot to do with it in some ways. But you have to do your best to try to hide that type of stuff. And I am all about honesty in relationships, any relationship, especially very close relationships like mother and daughter. I think honesty is so important, but something like that is so so detrimental. It's just, it could be shattering to her to see such a beautiful woman look at herself in disgust. Let's see here. Also, the more you try to tell her how beautiful she is and stuff, and try to counteract your own problems and eating disorder issues and stuff, the worse it can get. Like, just like my mom said, you know, I'm so glad you're happy with yourself even though you're not perfect, you know. And saying stuff like that, I know she had really good intentions, but really just not even bringing up um, self-esteem and um, uh, image issues. I can't think of the words for it. But just if she had just not brought up anything, I think it would have been a lot better. And just don't even make it an issue. Don't ever tell her to, you know, to don't go overboard of telling her how beautiful she is, because um, the more you say it, she might start to think that you're lying to her. Um, and you know, I would say it's probably best to wait to say anything about self-image um, until she comes to you and asks you some big questions like, Mommy, do you think I'm fat? Which I hear a lot of stories about that. I've had a couple messages from mothers, so it's good I'm making this video, but just don't even, I don't think you should even really address that issue until they ask you questions about, you know, wow, that girl on the TV is really skinny, and then you could tell them, yes, that's because they're very unhealthy, and you know, kids will ask you questions as they're ready to hear it, and so if you wait for her to come to you and ask you things, I think that would be a lot better, instead of trying to drill it into her head that she's beautiful already, you know, because then they catch on. Kids are smart, and they catch on, and they know you have an ulterior motive to telling her so much that she's beautiful, you know. Unless it just comes to mind, and if you are really admiring her and you think she looks so beautiful, then that's great too. But like, just going overboard um, has a reverse effect. um, anyway, I feel silly giving this advice because I'm no one, but I am a daughter, and uh, so I know what would have hurt me worse and what would have helped things, and so I hope that helps. But anyway, just remember, don't blame yourself if something evolves into an eating disorder with her, because there are a million things out there that can trigger eating disorders, and the blame cannot be on the mother. So, good luck.